We'll talk about digging the mag in a little bit more. It's a little bit tougher to do on hard ground, asphalt, blacktop, cement, anything like that. But if you have the ability and the terrain to literally drive the mag into the ground, don't be afraid to do that. Give yourself another anchor point. Either anchor it back where you can pull the gun back to you, or depending on terrain, you might want to drive the front of that mag into the ground where you can then load into it with your body like you would a bipod. Again, the goal is where you have opportunity, build as much stability as possible. Now, he's gotten into his position. Did you already do your wiggle check? Yep. Okay, he skipped ahead of me a little bit. Now, he's going to do a wiggle check again. Okay, so he's going to close his eyes and kind of move everything around, settle back in behind the gun, and then open his eyes. And the gun should be aligned with that intended bull that he's intended to shoot at.
It was a little left.
It was a little left. So what did he do? Did he just drive the gun over? He moved his anchor, his foundation of the pelvis. So he moved his pelvis over. He could repeat that process. Take your time in doing that. The wiggle check is very, very important. Then as he gets that settled in, he would start his breathing, but make note of his support hand and its position. A lot of people will go back to your regular standard C grip on it. A lot of people will try to maintain that. That changes the angle of the shoulders. It changes the length of this arm, and it's painful to him. So it changes a lot. Go to a magwell grip. If he were to go to that magwell grip, now he's got a lot of instability there. I'm barely tapping the muzzle. Again, those points of contact on the gun are getting closer together, more like a handgun, which from an engineering and biomechanics standpoint does not lend to stability. So what you guys need to do, there is no magic position. It's whatever feels comfortable. He's going to go back to a comfortable hand position. The farther out, the more stability. But he doesn't want to go so far out that he starts losing contact with the ground on that elbow. Also note how he's turned his hand over. You don't feel like you've got to do this. If you just cradle that fore end of the gun, is that not just like teacup in a handgun? Is there one person here that teacups a handgun? Then why would you do it on your rifle? Turn it over and teacup it. Just like that. A lot of people will start off like that in the prone or even kind of wrap their thumb up, but that's not doing anything for stability because again, he's got a class 1 lever here. When the gun recoils, it pivots around the base of the mag, wherever you've got it anchored. If he can minimize that movement upward, that would be great. So he finds the compromise as far as the length of this support structure and where it's positioned, and just lays the hand on top. Some people don't say, oh, that's uncomfortable for my wrist. I'm going to go back to a C-clamp and drive my thumb over. That's fine. Just as long as you're putting something on the top aspect of the gun that's going to minimize the muzzle movement. Now, if I tap this, it's moving less. Now, if I tap it from the bottom, let's see if everybody focus on the magazine, if you can see the mag. If I just barely tap it, the mag didn't really move or slip forward. If the mag moves forward, what would his eye see relative with the reticle to the target? Where would the optic move?
Up.
It would move up. So remember how we said, listen to the gun with your eye. When the gun goes off, if the dot or reticle settles back down high on the target, guess what the gun did?
Slip forward.
It slipped. The magazine slipped forward, which means that in many cases the stock will slip down and break out of this pocket. Okay? All you guys come over here to the opposite side to see the stock in his shoulder. This is where stock length is going to come into play, and you guys are going to start feeling your way through this. If you can get to where you can see the back of his stock, like here, and you guys come around here. Can anybody see the back of his stock? Can you see the back of his stock, Trevor?
Yep, right now.
You can see the very back of that stock.
Through his shoulder.
Through his shoulder. You cannot see the back of his stock. He's got his shoulder and basically his clavicle on top of that. It's not, now go back and put the stock on your shoulder itself, okay? That is having the stock on your shoulder. That's going to allow the rifle to move up and down here, especially if you put it on the shoulder joint itself, which somebody described to me the shape of your shoulder joint.
Round.
It's round. It's a ball joint, okay? And a round surface with a nice flat surface on it, that lends to movement and slippage. If he doesn't anchor the mag and this isn't anchored and the gun goes off, boom, it's going to slip and move around. So he's literally, if he goes back to his original position, he literally has his body on top of and behind the stock of the gun. Now the gun's still going to move a little bit when it recoils, but he's taking away every path of movement possible. And this is tough if you're not used to doing that. It's tough to find a comfortable, stable position. And once he has found that, now he's going to get in a rhythm of breath, imagining doing a visual representation of when you're going to break the shot. So if you put that dot with empty lungs on that bull and you inhale, which way is the dot and the reticle going to move? Down. You inhale because you're filling up your lungs and the other end of the seesaw is going down. Then when you exhale, the dot comes back up. Ideally, the apex of that travel will be on your intended point of aim, point of impact. Okay, are you ready to go hot?
Yep.
Okay, so now he's going to go hot. See if you can see the timing of his breath when he breaks the shot. Hear the reset, and you can even watch the muzzle. Nothing down there matters because you can't see the impacts anyway. Look at the background relative to the muzzle and concentrate on if that muzzle goes right back to the same point as a reference point. On you. Inhale. Set. Notice how that gun is not moving. It recoils a little bit and the muzzle goes right back to the same spot because he's built a good stable platform. How many breaths did he take? How many cycles of breath did he take per shot?
2.
2. Took a breath, broke a shot, took a breath, reset the trigger, exhaled. So you may shorten that to 1 cycle where you inhale, reset, exhale, break a shot. Inhale, reset, exhale, boom. That's fine. Doesn't matter what you do. Notice how he didn't come right off the gun. Now, I'm going to go through 5 shots, and I want you to tell me what's different just in the sequence in the cycle. I'm not even going to shoot the target. I'm just going to shoot the target. Okay. Tell me if you can see what's different.
Adjustments between each shot.
What was different?
You kept moving your head, changing your body.
There was no consistency, and then after the last shot, what did I do?
Jump straight right off.
Immediately came off the gun, raced back on the safe, and stood up because I was in a race. Who was I racing?
Yourself.
I don't even know. I was just doing it because I'm not thinking through things. It's important to be very methodical and consistent. Every one of the guns that are out here are capable of putting 5 rounds touching each other at this distance if you do things consistently. If you break 2 shots in this 5-shot string and you have to change something because it doesn't feel comfortable, start your 5 shots over. for a total of 7 shots. Nobody says you have to only shoot 5 shots. Your goal through from a 0 conformation all the way back to 300 when we start that process is a minimum of 5 uninterrupted, beautiful, consecutive, consistent shots. Okay?
So I show them real quick what it looks like with the magwell grip.
Yes.
So watch this, guys. Watch what. Don't worry about anything else. Just watch the muzzle device and the barrel and the bore. What happens with this? I'll just shoot the bone.
See that? That's why we don't get a magwell grip.
And I'll start creeping up.
Now he's right in front of us. Still moving a little bit. Didn't move. Didn't really move. So that degree of how much you move out that rail is going to be completely dependent on you, length of your forearm, length of your humerus, you. Not anything we prescribe. As long as it's effective and the dot, the reticle, the gun goes right back to where it was, then you know it's working by listening to the gun with your eye. Okay? This is not a race. This is ultimate precision. Even, yes, at 50 yards.